Florida is known for endless sunshine, thriving cities, and booming tourism. It ranks among the fastest-growing states in America, with more than 22 million residents and millions of visitors each year. Its beaches, theme parks, and vibrant communities create an image of constant prosperity. Yet beneath this story of growth lies another chapter that is rarely discussed. Across Florida, entire towns have risen and fallen, leaving behind eerie reminders of lives once lived. Ghost towns dot the state from the Panhandle to the Keys, each abandoned for different reasons. Some were destroyed by powerful hurricanes or collapsed when industries shut down. Others faded after new railroads and highways shifted the flow of commerce. What remains today are ruins, cemeteries, and scattered traces of communities swallowed by time. The contrast is striking. Florida adds hundreds of thousands of new residents every year, yet it also holds more than 250 recorded ghost towns. Experts warn that rapid growth and recurring storms may create more in the decades ahead. Rising seas, stronger hurricanes, and fragile infrastructure make many coastal communities especially vulnerable. Entire neighborhoods can disappear in a single season, reminding everyone that prosperity in Florida is never guaranteed. Will the future of Florida mirror its booming present, or will history repeat itself in new abandoned towns? In this video, we will explore 10 Florida towns that are quietly slipping toward ghost town status in 2025. Before we start, make sure to like this video and subscribe to our channel. And now, let's dive in. Number 10. Cape Coral. Cape Coral was once the crown jewel of Southwest Florida development. This sprawling city boasts more than 400 miles of canals. It ranks as having more canals than any other place on Earth. Built from swampland in the 1950s, it became a magnet for retirees. Young families also sought waterfront living at affordable prices. The city grew from nothing to nearly 200,000 residents in 7 decades. Its master-planned communities attracted buyers from across America seeking a coastal paradise. During the pandemic housing boom, Cape Coral seemed unstoppable. Home values soared as buyers competed fiercely for waterfront properties. Investors and house flippers flooded the market rapidly. They bought up properties faster than locals could afford them. New developments sprouted across former wetlands at a record pace. Then, Hurricane Ian struck in September 2022. The Category 4 storm forever changed the city's trajectory. Ian brought devastating winds and catastrophic storm surge to Southwest Florida. Cape Coral suffered massive flooding as its canal system spread destruction. Thousands of homes sustained major damage throughout the city. Entire neighborhoods sat underwater for days after the storm passed. The aftermath revealed the true cost of waterfront paradise. Insurance companies fled the Florida market in droves. Others raised rates to unprecedented levels across the region. FEMA threatened to remove Cape Coral's flood insurance discount program. This action would immediately raise flood insurance rates by 25%. Homeowners who once paid reasonable premiums now face annual bills exceeding $8,000. The financial pressure created a cascade of market consequences. Home prices have fallen 4.2% compared to last year. The current median home price sits around $369,000. Cape Coral ranked dead last among 123 housing markets nationwide in 2025. The city recorded 15,425 homes for sale in January alone. This massive inventory oversupply signals deep market distress throughout the region. Many properties now sit on the market for 60 days or longer. Real estate agents report buyers demanding significant price reductions before making offers. Today, Cape Coral presents a sobering picture of boom and bust. Brand new developments sit with reduced occupancy rates across the city. Pristine streets echo with unusual silence instead of neighborhood activity. For sale signs appear more frequently where families once gathered regularly. The dream of affordable waterfront living faces serious challenges. Rising insurance costs and market uncertainty continue to reshape this coastal community. How long have you been living in Florida? Have you noticed the state becoming emptier? Share your thoughts in the comments. Our team needs your help. Subscribe to our channel to help more people learn the truth about current events. And now, we move on. Number 9. Port Charlotte. Port Charlotte was once a symbol of affordable coastal living in southwest Florida. It offered quiet neighborhoods and easy access to the Gulf at prices within reach of middle-class families. Retirees arrived for sunshine and golf, while younger households came for fishing and boating. By the mid-2000s, ranch land had given way to sprawling subdivisions. The town became a showcase of Florida's rapid growth. The community grew even faster during the pandemic boom. Remote workers and out-of-state buyers discovered they could afford homes with canal access for far less than in Naples. The median home price soared past $300,000 in 2022, and builders rushed to cover former pastures with new developments. For a moment, Port Charlotte seemed unstoppable. New arrivals poured in, and construction crews worked at breakneck speed. That moment has passed. By early 2025, the median home price hovered near $282,000, almost 9% lower than the year before. Homes that once sold in days now sit for more than 70 days. Neighborhoods display rows of for-sale signs where families once filled every driveway. Agents speak of entire streets lingering on the market, their values slipping with every passing month. Charlotte County has become one of the nation's most vulnerable housing markets. Nearly 1 in every 198 homes faced foreclosure in late 2024. Many buyers who stretched finances during the frenzy now owe more than their homes are worth. Families find themselves locked into mortgages that drain resources while equity disappears. Insurance costs only add to the strain. Florida leads the nation with average premiums near $6,000 a year. After Hurricane Ian struck Port Charlotte in 2022, with local rates climbed even higher. For many households, insurance now equals or surpasses mortgage payments. This makes ownership unsustainable and forces some to abandon homes altogether. The landscape reflects the crisis. Some subdivisions remain half-finished, their streets leading to empty lots. Others show abandoned homes where lawns have grown wild. Scattered vacancies reveal a town caught between boom and collapse. What was once a thriving coastal hub now carries the silence of uncertainty as dreams of affordable paradise give way to doubt. Port Charlotte now stands as a cautionary tale of overbuilding and vulnerability. Once it was marketed as an affordable paradise. Now it illustrates how quickly prosperity can unravel when disaster, speculation, and financial pressure collide. Have you seen signs in your town that remind you of Port Charlotte's housing crash? What do you think people should do to prevent it from happening again? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Now, please take a moment to hit that like button. It's a small action, but it helps YouTube's algorithm promote our videos to a wider audience. Number 8. Fort Dade. On Egmont Key, just off the entrance to Tampa Bay, lie the remains of Fort Dade. The island today feels isolated, shaped by wind, salt, and shifting sands. Visitors stepping ashore find cracked pavement leading nowhere and scattered ruins that hint at a lost community. What makes it remarkable is that this ghost town once had paved streets, electric lights, and even a movie theater. A century ago, Fort Dade was a bustling military settlement built during the Spanish-American War. More than 300 soldiers and their families lived on the island in rows of neat houses. The community included a school, shops, and one of the earliest electric systems in Florida. It was designed to defend Tampa Bay with heavy artillery, though its cannons never fired in combat. When the Army abandoned the site in 1923, the town disappeared almost overnight. What remains today is a landscape frozen between history and decay. The lighthouse still watches over the channel, but most of the town lies in fragments. Visitors walk through crumbling sidewalks now swallowed by palm trees and sea grapes. The foundations of homes and the outline of a theater are visible, but the roofs and walls are gone. Along the shoreline, massive gun batteries rust slowly, reminders of a fort that never saw battle. Nature is steadily reclaiming the island. Hurricanes and erosion wash away sections of the coast each year, while shifting dunes bury parts of the remaining streets. Experts warn that Egmont Key may shrink within the next century, and much of Fort Dade could vanish beneath the waves. The ghost town feels fragile, as though it may disappear at any moment. Every storm season brings a new threat of permanent loss to the town. Despite this, Fort Dade still attracts explorers and history enthusiasts. Kayakers and boaters land on the beach to wander its ruins, while birdwatchers come for the island's wildlife. It is one of the few places in Florida where visitors can step into a ghost town surrounded entirely by ocean. The silence of the site, broken only by seabirds' waves, creates an atmosphere that feels both haunting and timeless. Standing among the ruins, visitors are struck by how quickly nature can reclaim even the most carefully planned towns. Fort Dade's story shows how quickly prosperity and purpose can fade. What was once a self-sufficient town with modern comforts has become an abandoned fragment of history. The island's fate now lies not in war or politics, but in the slow advance of nature. What would you do with Fort Dade if you were in charge? Preserve it or let the ocean reclaim it? Tell us what you think in the comments. Share this video on X and Facebook to help us grow. Every share counts. Number 7. Northport. Northport sits in Sarasota County, covering 99 square miles of land. It is one of Florida's fastest-growing cities, yet much of its vast grid remains empty. Visitors often see long stretches of paved roads cutting through forest, with only scattered houses standing in isolation. Sidewalks leading to nowhere and canals bordered by vacant lots give the city an unfinished atmosphere. This emptiness began in the 1950s and 1960s, when developers carved more than 80,000 lots into swamp and pine flatwoods. Streets were laid in grids, and advertisements promised a thriving new community. Sales lagged behind the ambition, and Northport became known for zombie subdivisions, with roads but very few homes. Northport eventually grew, but even in 2025, the city remains only 30% built. Its population has surged to more than 92,000, nearly 24% higher than in 2020. By land area, it is the largest city in Sarasota County, with projections suggesting it could someday reach 250,000 residents. Yet the layout still shows large areas resembling ghost towns scattered between pockets of growth. During the pandemic boom, Northport ranked among the hottest U.S. markets, with median prices climbing to $355,000 in 2022. By early 2025, values slipped to around $365,000, a decline of more than 7% from the year before. Zillow data places average values closer to $314,000, marking a 9.6% drop. Homes now sit on the market for more than 70 days, far above the state average. Signs of distress are visible in new construction. Some developments were left half-finished as financing dried up after interest rate hikes. Frames of houses stand idle, while other sites show paved streets with no buyers in sight. Foreclosures in Sarasota County rose by more than 20% in 2024, leaving whole neighborhoods dotted with for sale signs. The imbalance between supply and demand has created the feeling of a city growing unevenly and unpredictably. Northport has also struggled with natural disasters. When Hurricane Ian struck in 2022, flooding forced hundreds of families from their homes. Thousands of properties across Sarasota County were damaged, and recovery remains uneven years later. Some streets display rebuilt homes, while others remain scarred by debris and long-neglected repairs. Combined with soaring insurance costs averaging $6,000 a year, many households now face expenses that feel unsustainable. The result is a city caught between growth and decline. Along its main highways, suburban sprawl and commercial centers resemble any other Florida community. Yet beyond the traffic lights, the silence of half-built subdivisions stretches for miles. Northport raises questions about the risks of unchecked planning and speculative growth. Have you seen towns grow too quickly? Did they collapse or manage to keep thriving? Let us know what you think in the comments. Number 6. Palm Bay. Palm Bay was once considered one of Florida's most affordable coastal escapes. Its size and low prices drew retirees, young families, and investors who poured in during the housing surge. By the early 2020s, Palm Bay became a short-term rental hotspot, with Airbnb units spreading through quiet neighborhoods. What had started as an affordable dream began to morph into a speculative gold rush. During the pandemic boom, buyers snapped up homes at record speed. Palm Bay's median home value surged past $300,000 in 2022, a sharp increase compared to just a decade earlier. Many of these homes were purchased not for living, but for profit. Whole streets turned into short-term rentals, with owners chasing profits from tourists and seasonal snowbirds. But by 2023, warning signs became impossible to ignore. Local rules and community restrictions placed new limits on short-term rentals. At the same time, oversupply drove down nightly rates as more units flooded the market. Investors who once counted on steady bookings now faced months of empty calendars. Rent stagnated while expenses continued to climb. The economics quickly turned harsh, with profits vanishing almost overnight. Insurance premiums in Brevard County soared, with many homeowners paying more than $5,000 a year. Maintenance costs rose while rental income flattened. Many investors could no longer cover mortgages, taxes, and fees. The dream of quick profits unraveled, and owners began dumping homes at a loss. Palm Bay's reputation as a rental goldmine rapidly gave way to talk of a looming collapse. By early 2025, Zillow reports average values near $308,000, down more than 4% year-over-year. Redfin shows median sale prices at $325,000, with homes sitting on the market for around 67 days. Realtor.com places the figure even higher at 73 days, while Bankrate notes an average of 83 days before sale. Compared to the bidding wars of 2022, this cooling is dramatic. Blocks once filled with Airbnb guests now appear half-abandoned, with empty driveways and neglected yards. Some properties stand dark for months, waiting for buyers who never come. Others were stripped of furniture after hosts gave up, leaving them as hollow shells of short-lived speculation. A sense of instability hangs over areas once marketed as safe bets for steady growth. Palm Bay is now a cautionary tale of how investor-driven markets can rise and fall with stunning speed. Its size and location make it too large to ever truly vanish, yet many districts feel hollow compared to just a few years ago. The city's future depends on whether families return to fill the void or whether more investors continue their exit. Have you stayed in or owned a short-term rental in Florida? Did you notice changes in the market or community around you? Share your experience in the comments. Number 5. Mexico Beach. Mexico Beach was once the picture of coastal simplicity. It was a small seaside town of pastel homes, family shops, and a pier where neighbors gathered at sunset. The shoreline held modest motels and cottages, a postcard setting far removed from the crowded high-rises of Miami. With just over 1,000 residents, it embodied the slow charm of old Florida life. That charm vanished in October 2018 when Hurricane Michael made landfall. It struck as a Category 5 monster with winds exceeding 160 miles per hour. A storm surge higher than 15 feet swallowed entire blocks within minutes. Nearly 85% of the town's buildings were destroyed or left uninhabitable. Within hours, Mexico Beach became one of the most devastated towns in Florida's history. The destruction was so severe that federal agencies called it one of the Gulf Coast's worst disasters. Streets once filled with bicycles and beachgoers were reduced to silence. Cars were tossed like toys, boats carried inland, and wooden homes splintered into piles of debris. The small population was scattered, and many were left with nothing to return to. By 2020, census data recorded fewer than 920 residents, far below its pre-storm numbers. The recovery process unfolded slowly and remained uneven. Some homeowners rebuilt under stricter codes that required stronger construction and higher elevation. Federal aid delivered over $100 million for infrastructure, from new water systems to canal dredging and beach repairs. Yet these efforts could not erase the empty spaces left behind. In 2025, parts of Mexico Beach still resemble a ghost town. Many beachside lots remain bare sand, untouched since Michael. Rows of abandoned shells stand along certain streets, their frames weathered by years of sun and salt. New homes gleam in some neighborhoods, but just beyond them sit gaps where nothing has risen. The contrast between survival and absence defines the town's modern identity. For visitors, the feeling is haunting. One side of the street may show bright new houses filled with life. The other may reveal empty foundations and wild grass reclaiming the land. This dual reality makes Mexico Beach feel suspended between rebirth and ruin. It is both a symbol of resilience and a chilling reminder of how fragile coastal living has become. Local leaders hope to attract new families and businesses, and tourism is slowly returning. Yet rising insurance costs and the constant threat of stronger hurricanes cast long shadows over the town's future. Each year brings questions about whether rebuilding will continue or whether more families will give up entirely. The story of Mexico Beach is one of survival, but also one of loss that refuses to fade. Would you consider rebuilding in a coastal town hit hard by hurricanes, or would the risk push you away for good? Let us know in the comments. Number 4. Ocala. Ocala, set in the heart of Central Florida, was once marketed as the affordable rural escape. Known for its open landscapes, the city offered retirees and families a slower pace of life. Home buyers who felt priced out of Tampa or Orlando found Ocala to be the next best alternative. The pandemic-era boom transformed this quiet market. Investors and new residents poured in, driving home prices to levels never seen before. By 2022, the median home price hovered around $280,000, a figure considered remarkable for Marion County. Subdivisions sprouted across former pasture land, and construction crews raced to meet the demand. By late 2023, the rising interest rates cooled buyer demand, and the cost of living caught up with new arrivals. By early 2025, Redfin showed the median home price near $255,000, a decline of almost 9% from its peak. For many recent buyers, that translated into thousands in lost equity. Insurance costs soon made matters far worse, compounding the pressures already facing residents. Once manageable at around $2,000 per year, premiums in Marion County climbed into the $5,500 to $6,000 range. For homeowners already squeezed by inflation and mortgage payments, insurance became the final breaking point. Some walked away, leaving behind houses that they could no longer afford to protect. Developers felt the downturn just as sharply as projects stalled and profits disappeared. Projects that broke ground during the housing frenzy now sit unfinished. Concrete foundations stretch across the edges of town, weeds overtaking lots where new homes were promised. Whole streets of half-built properties now resemble abandoned work sites more than growing neighborhoods. Even the county has acknowledged the decline. Property tax assessments have been revised downward, reflecting shrinking values. For local officials, this means less revenue to fund schools, infrastructure, and essential services. For residents, it is a sobering admission that the market has lost its shine. The future of Ocala remains uncertain, with stalled projects and falling demand shaping the outlook. With builders cautious and buyers wary, new growth seems unlikely in the near term. Families that moved to Ocala for affordability now face the same financial burdens they hope to escape. Streets that once promised lively new communities now stand as eerie reminders of speculation gone wrong. The rural charm that defined the region still exists, but the promise of booming prosperity has faded. Ocala's story is a reminder of how quickly fortunes can change in real estate markets dependent on outside growth. Have you seen half-finished neighborhoods in your area? Do you think developers will return, or will these projects remain abandoned? Leave a comment with your thoughts. Number 3. Port St. Lucie. Port St. Lucie stands today as one of Florida's largest coastal cities. Families arrived in record numbers during the pandemic, drawn by new subdivisions, good schools, and beach access. With over 240,000 residents, the city became one of the fastest growing in the nation. From 2020 through 2022, the local housing market surged with double-digit growth each year. Out-of-state buyers flocked to the Treasure Coast, paying well above asking prices. Builders scrambled to keep up, creating entire master-planned communities at breakneck speed. By mid-2022, the median home price in Port St. Lucie reached nearly $370,000, a steep climb from just a few years earlier. Yet by 2023, cracks began to appear in the foundation of this rapid growth. Rising mortgage rates cooled the frenzy, while inflation drained household budgets. By early 2025, home prices were down about 7%, with the median near $344,000. While less severe than in other parts of Florida, the slowdown has left many homeowners increasingly worried about equity. Out-of-state buyers, once the lifeblood of this market, have largely vanished. Pending sales are failing at record levels, with nearly 1 in 3 contracts collapsing before closing. Homes now linger on the market for an average of 65 days, compared to just 24 in 2022. Sellers who once fielded multiple offers now struggle to attract even one serious buyer. Rising costs are amplifying the pain for homeowners, making it harder for families to keep their properties. Insurance premiums have risen sharply, adding thousands to annual housing expenses. In Port St. Lucie, the cost of living has grown much faster than wages, squeezing family budgets. For families who moved here seeking affordability, the financial squeeze is pushing some to leave. New projects have slowed or stalled, leaving empty lots and half-finished houses across the city. Streets designed for rapid expansion now feature for-sale signs. Relentless momentum has given way to caution, with fewer investors willing to take risks in today's uncertain market. Port St. Lucie faces an uncertain future as its growth slows and financial pressures continue to mount. On one hand, its location and infrastructure give it advantages that many cities lack. On the other, rising costs and vanishing demand threaten to turn its recent boom into a cautionary tale. Families who came for a better life now face the possibility that their chosen city is drifting toward decline. For some neighborhoods, the shift is already visible in the silence of unsold homes. The story of Port St. Lucie shows how a boomtown can quickly stumble when demand and costs shift. Have higher HOA fees or insurance premiums forced you to reconsider where you live? How has it affected your housing choices? Share your thoughts. Number 2. Seffner. Seffner sits just east of Tampa, a quiet suburb that hides one of Florida's most unsettling secrets. This community lies at the heart of Hillsborough County's Sinkhole Alley. The alley has a history of swallowing homes. While most neighborhoods look ordinary at first glance, entire blocks here carry the scars of sudden collapse. The most infamous tragedy struck in 2013, when a massive sinkhole opened beneath a family's home and took a man's life. The collapse shocked the nation, and it revealed just how fragile the ground beneath Seffner is. Within months, surrounding houses were declared unsafe, fenced off, and eventually abandoned. Hillsborough County has continued to record hundreds of sinkhole claims, making it one of Florida's most active regions. In 2023, emergency crews responded to new sinkholes that opened in nearby subdivisions. This forced evacuations and condemned additional homes. The ground here remains unstable, with each heavy rain or hurricane season bringing fresh reports of collapse. The result is entire lots vanishing, leaving residents stunned and displaced. Florida's insurance crisis has hit Seffner especially hard. Premiums in Hillsborough County now average more than $6,000 per year, and sinkhole coverage often requires separate, expensive add-ons. Several insurers have withdrawn from Florida altogether, leaving many homeowners scrambling for coverage. Some properties near sinkhole zones are now virtually unsellable, with values 20 to 30% below county averages. Nature has also reclaimed parts of Seffner where homes once stood. Fenced-off streets cut through empty land where driveways now lead to overgrown lots. A handful of abandoned shells remain boarded up, collapsing slowly in Florida's heat and humidity. The contrast is unsettling. Thriving neighborhoods sit only blocks from areas where the ground has taken everything back. Population growth in Seffner has slowed compared to Tampa's booming suburbs, partly because of these risks. For every family moving in, others quietly move away, unwilling to face rising premiums and the constant fear of collapse. Census estimates confirm that the pace of growth has lagged behind surrounding areas. Seffner's story is more than a local issue. Experts warn that heavier rainfall and shifting groundwater may make sinkholes more frequent across Florida. Hillsborough officials already see spikes in sinkhole reports after every major storm. What feels like a rare event in most places has become a constant worry here. This unusual ghost town shows how natural forces, not just economics, can hollow out a community. Would you feel safe buying a home in a sinkhole-prone area if it was much cheaper, or would the risk be too great? Tell us in the comments. Number 1. Deltona. Deltona was once marketed as the affordable family suburb between Orlando and Daytona Beach. With tree-lined neighborhoods and easy access to highways, it attracted tens of thousands of working families. By 2020, it had become one of Central Florida's fastest-growing cities, passing 95,000 residents. Yet growth has slowed sharply. In 2025, Deltona's population is estimated at just over 101,000, reflecting annual gains of barely 1.5%. While Volusia County overall continues to expand, Deltona's momentum is fading. What was once a booming suburb now struggles to hold on to its residents. The housing market reflects that shift. Median home values peaked above $315,000 in 2022, but have since slipped by more than 4%, settling around $301,000. For many households, this represents tens of thousands in lost equity. Homes that once sold in bidding wars now stay on the market for nearly 2 months on average, compared with only 24 days just 2 years ago. Costs are compounding the pressure. Homeowners face annual insurance premiums averaging more than $6,000. Many policies require additional sinkhole or flood riders, further increasing expenses. At the same time, homeowners association fees have climbed by 40% in several subdivisions, making affordability even more elusive. These costs are driving families out. Census estimates show Deltona's growth slowing while neighboring cities expand more quickly. Investor confidence has also weakened. Short-term rental owners, once eager to cash in on Central Florida's tourist market, are now retreating. Dumping homes back into the market creates a wave of new listings that accelerates the decline. The effect is visible in many neighborhoods. Streets once filled with children and parked cars now carry a quieter, almost subdued atmosphere. For sale signs cluster on corners, while lawns go untended and homes sit vacant longer than ever before. The impression is of a city caught between its prosperous past and an uncertain future. Experts warn that Deltona is especially vulnerable because it lacks the tourism draw of Orlando or the coastal economy of Daytona Beach. Without new industries or stable inflows of residents, its fortunes rise and fall almost entirely on the housing market. A shrinking tax base and declining property values could strain public services, adding another layer of risk. For families who once saw it as the affordable dream, it now represents the sharp edge of Florida's affordability crisis. Rising premiums, weak demand, and investor retreat have transformed this once thriving city into a cautionary tale of how quickly growth can unravel. How long have you lived in your current community? Have rising housing costs or insurance premiums changed your plans for the future? Let us know below. Thank you for exploring the hidden corners of Florida with us. Click on the video you see on the screen to check out other hidden discoveries on our channel.